Gruesome Magazine.
Hello once again, I'm Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Hunted, a Belgium feature that is heading toward Shudder, one of our favorite streaming platforms in the coming days. We'll talk about that here shortly, but we're looking forward to talking about this tonight. Let me introduce the rest of the crew, starting off with the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I do prefer the company of wolves, but you guys will do.
Yes. We'll clear all that up here shortly. Also joining us tonight is Crystal Cleveland. She is the living dead girl. How you doing?
Good. I totally agree with Jeff. Wolves are better than people.
Mm-hmm. Yet here we are.
Wolves are better than people. All right, rounding out the crew, the one and only Dave Dreher. Welcome back, Dave.
Hey! I don't like wolves or people.
Well, yeah, that's fair too. Okay.
You're all so crazy. All right. What we're talking about is I have Hunter there. It's not Hunter. I can't spell anything. It's Hunted. Only the Savage Survive is available beginning January 14, 2021. Director is Vincent Paronnaud, and he also wrote it along with Leo Pernollet, maybe? Know that?
Pernollet? Yeah, that sounds Pernollet.
The cast includes Lucie, Debay, Arieh, Worthalter, and Ciaran O'Brien. The synopsis goes, a company of wolves is better than that of man. Hence, that's what Jeff was mentioning. Once upon a frenzied time, woman meets man. Woman dances with man. Man kisses woman. Man grips woman. Man woman.
What the hell is this? Are you serious?
Is there? That is.
Is that really what they have as a synopsis?
Synopsis.
And why is Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber on the poster?
Oh my God! Yes.
No.
We'll just say that the actress who plays the lead in this can scream and act very disturbed, crazed. Not crazy, but crazed, right?
Oh
Okay.
No, I'd say crazy,
Crazy
but
too?
crazy
Okay.
for reasons. Crazy for reasons.
Yes.
Okay.
Crazy for reasons. This is. I think Dave, you mentioned before we get into our initial thoughts. You mentioned in the chat that this reminded you of an Alex Ija movie.
You're going to talk about our private chat stock? Oh
my God! I haven't even read that yet, so
I have to watch what I talk to you. Yeah, no, it very much is high tension. It is. That was my first thought, which of course was a French film, and very similar. You know, it's a single woman trying to escape a madman who has to become a madman herself to survive. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what this is, right up to having the fucking pole with the barbed wire and shit around it. It's like, okay.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
So I was like, oh, right now Alexander Aja is sitting at home going, this looks awfully familiar to me.
So we had to do that because that synopsis that's on bonkers. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our first impressions, then we're going to talk about the film for a little bit, and then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, and our favorite scene. Oh my! We've got a lot of doozies to choose from. There's some bonkers ones, but let's do our first impressions. Crystal, you're up first. What is your first impression of Hunted?
Okay. So, interestingly enough, the subject matter is something that might trigger people because it does deal with rape. However, I will say that even though it's implied, there isn't any graphic or explicit scenes. It's just talked about and implied, thankfully. So I appreciate the way that they handled that, because it really was to show that the two male leads, were just total losers. This movie was acted so phenomenally by all three leads. Really, it's three. It's basically a 3-person movie. I'm really blown away. Like The woman is beast. The man is I hate him. I hate him because he was so good in his role. So that speaks to the movie itself. It's the synopsis is wow.
Too weird. Too weird.
Yes.
There are a couple supporting characters in mid film, and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, I did. Oh, I love them too. Oh, it's acted so well. The whole movie, it's phenomenal. I mean, you think that the movie is gonna go in one direction though, and it goes completely opposite. So I don't want to give anything away because I was pretty shocked at what happened. Really, you think it's going to take this certain path, even though you kind of know where it's going. No, you don't know. And it was better than I anticipated. I think that it was shot really well. I think that, obviously, like I said, the direction was good. The cinematography was nice. It was at its core a simple movie, and I was thinking, oh, I guess they're not going to show much of because they kind of imply one of the first deaths rather than show you anything. But then they give you some stuff.
Oh my god, so much. So much stuff. Oh,
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready because I was like, oh, okay. Oh, you're going to actually full on show. Okay, I see where this is going. I really liked it. Normally, like I said, sometimes these sorts of movies can really like rub you the wrong way because of the subject matter. But because of the way it was handled, it was way more palpable. And clearly it shows you who the bad guys are, and yeah. So I really enjoyed it. Shockingly, I wasn't sure going in, but yeah, it was good.
It was
It was
good.
intense. It was intense. It was. I'm not gonna lie. Toward in the movie, I was like, yeah. Oh, like Dave
I need a
mentioned.
smoke break. Yeah, smoke break.
Yeah, it's rough. It was pretty rough. I was like, oh god.
All right, Dave Dreher, sir, you're up next. What was your first impression of Hunted?
Yeah, well, you might have thought maybe from my first little talking there that I, thought it was a little bit of a ripoff of High Tension, and it's really not. Other than the basic premise is very similar, but other than that, like Crystal just mentioned, this thing really kind of goes off in a little bit of a different tangent, and it was good. It's kind of you feel kind of dirty saying I enjoyed this movie. But,
Yeah, that's what I was like.
But it definitely held my interest. I thought all three of our main leads were good. The main baddie I think is like just psychopathic, and in a good way. So again, it's one of those ones that you don't want to say too much about because I don't want to ruin the view for anybody. But seek out The Hunted because it's worth putting in front of your eyeballs.
Worth putting in front of your eyeballs. I'd put that on a box. All right, Jeff Mohr, sir, your first impression of Hunted.
I also like this quite a bit. I thought this Arieh Worthalter as the predator is so slimy, and I'm like Crystal. Oh my God, did I hate that? And Lucie Debay is also very good. I love this. There's this little prologue with I didn't know what to call her at the beginning, but in the credits they call her the Huntress and her son, and she tells him this story that ends with this sort of the moral of company of wolves is better than the company of men. But within that story was how this person had the forest had embraced her. The heroine of the story, I guess. And I felt like that's kind of where we went all the way through this movie. So, and I hope that's not giving too much away, but I just love that. I absolutely love that. And it goes more and more as you go on. That guy, and it kind of starts out where the predator. Well, I'm trying to think of how to say it.
The predator is the savior.
Well, the predatory nature of what's going on isn't obvious at first. although Crystal, who's a little more attuned to that stuff, might have gotten it. But for me, it's revealed a little more and a little more, and you finally go, oh my God. And then from that point on, oh, this guy is like just the most evil.
He is the most evil.
And he is sociopathic, and he's manipulative, and he doesn't care,
Yeah.
So it's sometimes stories I wonder if a real sociopath, what they would do. This one I think is probably pretty close.
Yeah, this guy is bent. The actor did a great job with him because he has to be charming at times, right?
Yeah,
because and at the beginning, he wins the trust of our heroine, and then later on, what I liked is like if you get like a little shot of him practicing his lines first, when he's like approaching the camp.
Yeah,
and I liked that approach to this character. It gave a little bit more depth to the zaniness. He wasn't just crazy. We kind of saw how his mind worked through some of his actions and things like that. So it made him a really interesting bad guy. And the camera liked him, and the director really knew how to frame him. So there's some great shots with his face that are worth getting it.
Yeah.
But she, is it Lucie or Lucie? I was thinking it was Lucie, but what Lucie Debay plays says no, is that the right name? Right, Eve?
Yeah.
There's so many. IMDb is so screwed up with this, but she is so fantastic. You get the vulnerability and of her character at first, because she's in a weird place. They don't really give you everything, but you get enough to understand, that she's, there's just something going on, and it gets her in a very kind of sticky situation. And
she put herself in a situation that no woman should ever put herself in.
Right. Well,
unfortunately,
but she shouldn't have to be afraid of being in that position either. But at the same time, those.
You should always be afraid of being in that position if you're a woman.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate fact, and that's what I'm saying. I wish it wasn't that way. But anyway,
me too.
She flirted with the wrong guy. Let's put it that way. And this guy also has a relationship with who were introduced as his brother at first. Turns out there's a big story there. And that is a very disturbing kind of power trip going on there that leads to this pig taking things in control. Stepping into frame, let's say. And it's, he calls him, what I liked, he calls the guy Andy, right? Our bad guy who is
right.
He's called the handsome guy in the credits, but he's also called the Predator in other areas. But he calls his friend Andy, and then he calls the other one Andy too. It's like everybody's an Andy to him, which is kind of another bent thing that's interesting. There's a lot going on beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Maybe not really depth-wise, but flavor-wise.
But I think that is depth-wise. I think those are meant to signify other things. Like, you're just supposed to kind of imagine what those could be, as opposed to it being like right in front of you.
Right.
Like you see her getting texts and stuff. So you're just supposed to kind of, imagine what's happening, understand what's happening. I like that. I like that it's like they're dropping these little Easter eggs everywhere, and you can pick them up or not. And even if you don't, the movie is still good.
Yeah.
But if you do, I think it does give it depth. It's really well written.
It is.
I think it was
Yeah, it's really well written. It's really well acted. It's really well shot. Both cinematography and the direction, the framing, the choices that are made. There's a lot going on here, technically, and I really loved it. I really love this film. This really impressed me in a lot of different ways. But we got to talk about some of the beats here. One thing I want to bring up, and I want to get you guys' opinion on, is somebody mentioned earlier that the forest kind of embraces her. And the way they represent that is a lot of times with the animals.
Yep.
From the pig to the deer to the wolves to even a
crow,
a centipede and a crow. Oh, the crow! Holy cow, the crow thing. But I think the deer scene struck me the most, which I thought was fascinating. But what did you guys make of that? Did you did that add something to it, or was it a little like?
Yeah, I love the lore.
Yeah.
I love like how Jeff mentioned the story, and I love how those people come back into play as well.
Well, even the I don't know, is that a dog or a towards the end?
Oh yeah,
Without
the
giving too much away.
security guards dog.
Yeah. So
What
no,
a
I thought it
dork.
was great, and I thought if it wasn't for that stuff, I'd be wondering what the hell happened at the end. But I sort of like go, oh, okay, I don't know. I sort of
I like the little, yeah.
yeah.
You hope that there's something bigger in a way, and it's subtle, and it might be a little silly to some people, but I like it.
Yeah, it's in the fringe though. It's not doesn't take over the movie, but it gives it. Some
You could
flavor.
totally miss it. You could just say, oh, these things are happening to her. And I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Crows are supposed to be incredibly intelligent people. I mean, incredibly intelligent birds. Like they hold vendettas. If you read anything about crows, it's not that weird that maybe this crow would actually do what the crow did.
Well, and I have some things to ask you guys offline.
Things we don't want to spoil.
Yeah. Well, things that hit me, and I don't want to. Yeah.
Well, the film at first you don't really think it's going to get incredibly gory, but it has its moments, does it not, Dave?
It does. I wanted to say before, because I'll lose this thought if I don't say it now, but did anybody else pick up on the little Red Riding Hood vibe with
Yes, with her hoodie,
yes,
of course,
yes.
Yeah. So, because I thought maybe they'd run a little bit more with that, especially with the wolf implications, but they never really played up on that too much. It was just like a little.
It's supposed to be subtle, like the whole lore. I think it was just meant to. I like it. That's what's so great about the movie. Everything's just kind of under the surface.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it started off with that really interesting and kind of fun. I don't know what animation CGI thing, that thing at the beginning, which was really cool. It looked really awesome. I'm not quite sure what it was.
Oh, I know that were like in silhouettes when she's telling
yeah. It was kind of cool. Some of it looked live action. Some of it looked like it was animation. I'm not really sure. But we start off with that, and then we kind of go through this whole kind of fable-y kind of thing, and then we end with like I Spit on Your Grave or Last House on the Left. It's like we take this weird journey through all these different things. So, but definitely the last reel on this one is definitely violent and bloody. Which, as you know, I'm all for.
Yeah, there's an arrow scene that I think will get every horror fan's attention.
Well,
sure.
We hinted toward that earlier.
Andy's
there's
wound
two
is
arrow
pretty
scenes.
nasty too.
Yeah, Andy got the crap beat out of him. Well,
he had that.
Spoilers, but
yeah, I thought that was really good, Dave. Did you?
What's that?
The stomach.
Yeah. And the arrow was good, and it was all good, and really kind of unexpected. It although it shouldn't have taken us by surprise or taken me by surprise, it did, because just the way the whole thing played, I was like, oh shit, now we're here, okay.
So we should also mention there are some really great shots in this movie. Some of them I'm going to bring up are without trying to spoil things, but there's a scene where our heroine kind of falls back off of a cliff, and it was really wonderful shot.
Yeah.
There are multiple shots of the predator, its face as he's kind of going through different expressions and stuff, and it really felt like it was more than just a close up. It was really interesting. At some point we do the slow motion thing with her, and the paint on the face.
That's so awesome. It's so awesome.
It is the whole.
And I was kind of wondering. I thought maybe I dozed off. But where the hell did the paintballers come from?
Okay, but you know what's even better than that? That was obviously because he shot it at her. Okay, you know that. But that was so planned because they crimped her hair. Only a girl would probably recognize this. They crimped her hair for that scene to really make her look crazy.
Right.
So that her hair. I just loved it. I was like, they actually crimped her hair for this scene. I appreciate that because it looks so insane.
Once sort of the table turned, right? Then her hair, that's about when her hair was like that. And
she started looking like Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber then.
Look right there. Right?
Yeah.
But
So the paintball, I did not doze off. The paintballers just kind of appear.
He shot it at her.
Right.
Yeah, but
No,
I mean,
but
why
I mean
are they
that
there?
there was
And
like a
why
paintball.
didn't they help her?
I think it was the kids. I think it was the kids.
I don't.
Kids paintball gun. But maybe I'm crazy.
Well, there were actually paintballers. People.
Yeah,
running
that's what I
around.
thought.
Yeah, they're paintballers. She gets hit in the face. It gives her Mel Gibson Braveheart moment where she gets smeared on her face. And, it's like they did that just so she should somehow have a blue face, I guess. I don't know.
It totally works. It feels like such a nightmare by that time, right? Everything feels like a nightmare by that time. So it's kind of like, okay, we'll take that. But then, they kind of make it back, small spoilers, they kind of make it back to civilization. And then it just gets.
Oh, it irritated me for a second.
Yeah.
But it was fair. It's fair, though, because, you're an outsider who looks.
I know what you're going to say.
But it's fair. It's fair that the people reacted the way that they did, I guess. Although, if you're gonna watch something and not step in, that bothers me, especially as a man.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got a pregnant wife. I'm kind of trying. I'm like,
they might have been in shock a little bit. That was a little bonkers.
that too. That's why I was trying to go. No, I mean, I get it.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. I've been like,
it's hard.
Frozen in fear. All right, so. I guess it all comes down to our leads, really. If they didn't live up to what was demanded of them, and this is a demanding film on them, both physically, emotionally, but they rock it. I really want to see what else they do. And I really want to see what the director does next, because I think Vincent Paronnaud has a great eye, really great eye. And
well, since he wrote the story too, right? I think that's
co-wrote, yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. We might have to throw a spoiler thing for this favorite scene. I don't know.
No. You can word things without giving stuff away.
All right,
that's why.
We can do it. All right, if you've been listening to this song, first off, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. To get other people to kind of know about us, it's really easy. Just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, share it. Oh my God, yeah, share it is even better. But we'd love to hear your thoughts if you see the film when it shows up on Shudder, and leave us some comments down below. We've been getting some great comments, by the way. And if you're listening and left us comments, we always like them and comment back if we have something witty to say. Sometimes we don't know what to say back on it. But I just want to let you know we're very grateful. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. We also want to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who really this Gruesome Magazine podcast, the Horror News Radio podcast, Decades of Horror podcast, and the Heroes and Droids podcast would not be we wouldn't be able to do them without you. So thank you guys so much. And I need to update this. We've had a few new ones, and I will get those names on here. But thank you. There are links down below if you're interested in finding out what's all there. All right, guys, this is it. We've got to do this. And let's see. Crystal, you were up first. What is your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene?
So I totally think you should see this. It's on Shudder, and you should totally have Shudder. And if you don't, you should get Shudder, and you should watch this. The acting is just on another level. I found this to be really fabulous. I'm going to give it I'm teetering between a 3.25 or a 3.5. I'm going to give it a 3.5. It deserves a 3.5 totally. Yes. And my favorite scene is the resurrection.
Oh yeah. Damn it, that's my favorite.
And that's all I need to say about it. You totally you'll know it when you see it, and you're like, oh, geez, Louise, that's woof. It's good. It's so good. It's so
The
good.
accidental
So bad.
CPR, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was genuinely shocked and surprised by it. It was
Yeah, me too. It
Yeah,
was so
it's
good.
It was.
Mhm.
All right, Dave Dreher. Let's hear your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene, sir.
Well, Crystal just totally stole the best scene in the movie. So all the rest of these are going to be second rate compared to that, because that is definitely the best scene. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. It was. I hate to keep saying it was a lot of fun. I just feels wrong saying that, but I did enjoy the view. I kind of can't wait to see it again. It hit Shudder like in a day or two, right?
But tomorrow, as we're recording.
Yeah. So be able to watch this one again here real soon. It was nothing really original story wise, but Doc, you were right. The director brought some visual stuff to this, and the acting is top notch all the way across the board. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 as well. Did you give it 3.5? Yeah, 3.5. Favorite scene, since mine was stolen, and again, got to go kind of non-spoilery here, but I'm going to go with the beating. I think you'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
The showdown.
Okay. Yes. Oh yeah.
That was the only real beating that was work.
Yeah. And just the way the person getting beaten kept saying the same couple words over and over, and each time it got a little more. And that it was just really disturbing and awesome.
Disturbing and awesome, all at the same time. All right, Jeff Mohr, sir, you're up next. What is your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene?
Final thoughts, you guys. You need to see this. This is just, even if you don't look for this other, whatever it is, backstory that kind of floats through there, it's still a great thriller. I'm going. Oh, you guys, it's the beginning of a new year. I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go 4.
I can totally see it. Yeah,
I liked it a lot. I loved. There's a point in the movie where things kind of circle around and come back that I had no expectation of coming back. So I absolutely love that. And my favorite scene, and this is going to sound weird compared to what you guys are saying, but when she wakes up and she's laying on the forest floor and she's covered in leaves.
Oh yeah.
And
then when she gets up and brushes it all off, just as she starts to walk away, you hear the sound of a breath and some like air vapor comes across the camera. And I don't know what that was. I'm picturing there's an animal or something there that helped cover her up or something. I just thought it was cooler than hell.
Yeah.
It was actually just the grip who was hiding just
I
outside.
It was obviously in there.
Just leave it in there. That was great.
It's like it's the forest.
No, I thought it was like a wolf or something had covered her up with the leaves.
It did make it kind of mysterious like that. Like it felt like it could be her, but it also felt like it could have been something else, right? Covering her up. Could have just
been the wind.
It could have been just the wind. I really enjoyed this as well, and I wasn't really sure what we were going to get. It feels like, I don't know if you guys remember the movie Revenge, but it feels like
Of course, I love
I thought about that.
But in the woods instead. It has a lot of similarities.
Which was a French film too.
Yeah. But this one is a little bit. Go see Revenge. But this is a real fun film, which I feel weird saying that too, Dave.
Yeah.
It entertains, and it doesn't go so far to really go deep down the trigger lane. I mean, it does.
It's done really well. Like where it's obvious what it is, but nothing is shown. It's just implied. Thankfully, and it doesn't even happen in the movie. Technically, it's basically the past, which makes it a little bit easier to. It's so interesting.
The implications are strong enough to make you a little ill. just for what kind of sleazebags these people are. But at the same time, they don't leave him like that, right? They do give him some character. They give him some a little bit of depth. A little, they shade the insanity, if you will. And I really liked how these characters, their dynamic was, and how one became not in the moral way, but in the physical way, more like the other than the as the story went on. And by that time you're so rooting for the female character to come back around, and it really is satisfying on a real visceral kind of raw level, and it's just fun visual storytelling. And there's a lot of like you said, there's a lot of subtle little things floating in here that if you really want to spend some time with, they're fascinating, and they kind of add a little bit of frost around the edges, right, to kind of keep things going.
Frost yourself.
Yeah, so I really like it. I'm going to go 3.75. 3.75.
Yay.
I'm going to do that. And my favorite scene would have been, of course,
hey, there's still the arrow scene.
There's the arrow scene.
This is a completely separate scene that I mentioned.
There's actually so much, right? I'm going to go more character based, and I'm actually going to kind of one's visual, one's character. I'm actually going to do two. I'm going to steal two. One is just just how it was visually shot when she goes off the cliff and into the water, into the river. It just, the way it was shot represented a lot of different things, and not just style, but kind of how the character felt at the same time. So it was really interesting what they did. But what I really enjoyed, there's not a whole lot of dialogue in this, but when there is, it's really interesting. And the dialogue between the predator and the huntress is figuring things out, right? And what he's saying, what kind of dog and stuff like that. And you just see somebody smarter than the bad guy getting playing that mental game of chess. And it actually, the better she is at it, the more tension you feel, right? The more danger she's in, right? So I just found that conversation really, really striking. Of course, what happens is
that whole scene from beginning to end is really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only problem I had with it is someone who would be that cognizant. I can't stand to have people at my back. I never have people at my back, and I don't allow it. You can even ask people who are closest to me. I yell at them. I don't like it. And so it shocks me a little that she allowed herself to be so vulnerable. But I'm okay with it, too. I'm like, well, you don't think that would happen for sure.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our review of Hunted, coming to Shudder on January 14th. So check it out and let us know what you think. We've got more Shudder films coming in the weeks to come. I think there's one that Jeff is very much looking forward to in about 2 weeks that I can't wait to see as well.
Uh-oh. I can't wait to see it either.
Queen of
Me
Black
too.
Magic.
Yes.
I was like, I don't know what it is, but I can't wait. Yeehaw.
All right, so check with us for future episodes. Thank you so much, Dave, Jeff, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining me. You hate it when I do those.
Thanks for having us.
Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Oh,
Did
Dave
Dave
just
freeze?
left.
Oh, that was good timing, though.
That's good night, goodbye. All right, see you guys.
Gruesome Magazine.